Okay, so here we are towards the end of December, and we're just having a quick last overview of the South African bulbs for 2018, and we'll take maybe a little bit of a break for the first 2 weeks in January and then come back. I won't make this over long. The Romuleas that you remember from last time, we managed to put into a nice neat line, are all growing very, very well. I really don't know whether the Romuleas with their long lovely grass-like leaves will flower this year. If they don't, because some of these are quite youngish bulbs, there's a peculiar four-winged leaves of Romulea tetragona. Where was I? I don't know whether we'll get any flowers this year from the Romuleas. We've got 5 Romuleas now, but we might. These not from the Romulea comsbergensis, because these are only 1-year-old bulbs. These will take 2 or 3 years to flower, I should think. But the Lacanalias are all growing well, no matter how small they are. Lacanalia ensiflora, you'll remember, flowered, and there were some pictures on the South African bulbs number 3. Showing the flowers of Lacanalia. The Lacanalia mutabilis has finally decided to stick its head up. You might just be able to see Lacanalia mutabilis there in front of the white pebble. Lacanalia pauciflora is finishing now, and the Ornithogalum and Albuca system must be kicking in, because in late December we've got this Albuca, the spiral leaves of Albuca concordiana, starting to twist their tortuous way above the substrate, and Albuca humilis is growing very well, looking astonishingly like quite a few other Albucas and Ornithogalums apart from the flower. They do tend to veer towards this grassy leaved morphology. Albuca polyphylla is growing very well, and as the 2 plants of Albuca augrabis hills, which we now know are called Albuca caruica, are doing very well. And this one in particular, the one I planted first back in July, is a magnificent plant. It really is. It's quite easy to see these huge green bulbs getting bigger and bigger from my vantage point, but from your vantage point I think they may be largely obscured by leaves. But hopefully you can see them between the leaves there. We've got about 9 or 10 bulbs there, and the bulbs are actually sprouting between the bulbs. So how can I do this? If I move this to one side, you might just see that there's a very green bulb popping up there now. So that green bulb is a new one. They're all green, but they tend to develop these papery sheaths to protect them. So this Albuca or Ornithogalum augrabis hills is doing really well. And then of course the one I'm really looking forward to seeing how it develops, because I've seen so many pictures of mature plants, is this Albuca spiralis or spiralis. Now these leaves tend to grow quite straightish when they first emerge and then whittle at the end. So a bit like this Ornithogalum apertum, in fact. Can you see those spiraling leaves? And these leaves are designed to capture the maximum moisture precipitation from mist, the heavy mists that drift in from the west in the South African deserts. And then we've got one small plant of Ornithogalum lithopsoides. There's a solo plant there, and we also have a much larger clump of this plant as well, of course, which we've seen before. The Dorbenia carinata decided to flower again, but has just finished. There's a dead flower there. So that's been a magnificent plant this year, and it's sending up another new set of lighter leaves. Can you see the lighter leaves as opposed to the darker leaves of which have been there all year? Now I'm going to fly around these Romuleas again. I'm going to go a quick overview of the Massonia. So Massonia hirsuta, well, that flower's finished now. We've had about a month and a half out of that one. That was very entertaining. The Massonia pustulata still has the flower cone, but no great signs of that opening yet. I'm sure it's coming, but it's not there yet. And then Massonia echinata has also finished. The main plant is continuing to make bigger and bigger leaves, and I'm not sure whether the sub-plants will actually flower this year, but we've had one flower from the main plant, so I'm not too concerned. Massonia longipace has continued to be magnificent. I've posted pictures of this plant wherever I can on YouTube. It's been featured a few times in the different plant bulb videos. I posted these pictures up on Instagram, I posted them up on Facebook. It's been a magnificent plant. But finally, the biggest of our Massonias, and that's why I came round the corner, which is Massonia depressa, has finally decided to open its flower cone. And I wanted to save this till last because there really is a very, very interesting feature here. Now, if this was bright sunlight, I think you could see it easier. Now, I'm going to have to try and pan around, I'm getting this Romulea leaf out of the way at the same time. I'm going to have to try and pan around to show you the feature I want to show you. And I don't know if I can get the angle exactly right. That might be the best angle. Now, if you look at the back, there are 5 flowers there. And if you look at the back too from that angle, you can see what might appear to be a pool of water. And it isn't a pool of water because I've just stuck something into it and tasted it. And it is very, very sweet. Because what we have here, my botanical friends, is a very unusual adaptation of a plant which is pollinated by nocturnal mammals. In fact, in this case, mostly desert mice. And the desert mice, of course, race in and they drink this nectar, which is what it is, in huge quantities, and in so doing they rub their little furry faces against the stamens, pick up the pollen, and you can figure out the rest. So rather than being pollinated by insects, very common in the plant world, or birds, quite common, this is a rare example of a plant which is specifically ecologically designed to be pollinated by rodents, particularly mice. So I don't know if I did get a good view there, but I can see in my camera lens, I can see the pools, so I'm hoping that you can see them too. It really is a large amount of nectar. It's actually starting to push out of the little cup that it's made between the stamens. Can you see that? I hope you can. Right, so I'm just going to take a photograph at that point. So I'm going to break off there. That's pretty much the news from the South African bulb collection. I'll continue to post pictures up of the development of the large Brunsvigia hybrids. So these are Brunsdonnas actually, between Brunsvigia and Amaryllis belladonna. There's that Brunsdonna between Amaryllis belladonna and an unidentified species, probably orientalis. And then there's that Japanese cultivar, Brunsdonna shinseki. We've also got the Amaryllis belladonna, the pure species, and we have other Brunsvigias coming along. So I'll take photographs of these all along the way, and they'll be featured in upcoming videos. The species Hippeastrum, they're all doing well, surviving the British winter. I don't know whether they'll flower this year, but they are doing well. Equestre and all the rest. The Sprachelia is doing as great as it was last time. Returning to Daubenia aurea, that's got quite an erect method of growth, which is quite different from the much more sessile Massonias. It's quite a tall plant. It's almost 3 inches tall now. That quite surprised me because I thought all Daubenias were ground huggers, but not this one. So that's Daubenia aurea, the yellow flowered form. That's Daubenia zaerii, which looks as if it's going to be flowering very soon, amazingly enough. Then we've got Daubenia marginata, that's also emerged safely. And then the red flowered form of Daubenia aurea, which also looks as if it's a much more upright grower than the others. So I'll just go straight back to its neighbour, and I'll finish off on the remarkable pollination system of Massonia depressa. I'll get that best angle again. It shows that pool starting to spill out, really. That's how much fluid there are. Because sadly in this greenhouse we don't have that many South African desert mice to come in, and actually we don't want any mice in the greenhouse, thank you. They tend to chomp away on anything at this time of year. So I'll finish there, and thank you very, very much for looking at the last bulb video of the year, I think. There will be a series of specialist bulb videos for the different genera coming out next year. So although we will do 4 bulb updates in the year, possibly March, June-ish, September-ish and December again, we're not going to do monthly updates for bulbs, because we're going to split off and we're going to do separate updates for Hippeastrum, for Daubenia, for Massonia, for Zephyranthes, for Ornithogalum and Albuca, Laconalia, Eucomis, Hemanthus, Scadoxus and Brunsvigia, not to mention Romulea if they flower. So we'll have separate videos for those, but for now I am saying goodbye. I'm going to take some nice photos of this Massonia here, and I suppose this is the opportune time to wish you all a Merry Christmas as well. So for those of you who celebrate, have a great time, and for those of you who don't celebrate, have a great time. Bye bye from Kirkstone. Bye bye for now. Bye bye. have a line of plants which are all in the Massonia genus. Now in the last video these were just starting, I think. One of them was just starting to stick its nose out of the pebbles. But most of them are now in more or less full growth. And if you look here you can see the unique growth pattern of the Massonia genus. We never have more than two leaves, a bigger leaf and a smaller leaf. And if you look closely you can just start to see the flower scape forming between those leaves. So this is Massonia depressa, and in the next pot we had planted three smaller bulbs of a very closely related species. This is Massonia echinata, and it's kind of like daddy bear, mummy bear and little baby bear, all the same age, all the same plant, but one's a fair size, one's quite small, and then the little baby just sitting there minding its own business. Now the one which we've been really following the development of on Facebook, on the Kirkstone Botanica Facebook page, is this Massonia longipace, the so-called long-legged Massonia, because it has a taller flower scape than most of the others. Most Massonia and Daubenia have a flower scape which is described as sessile. That means flat to the ground. But Massonia longipace actually has a short stalk. Absolutely gorgeous leaves. The leaves are actually almost crystalline and they shimmer in the sunlight. Beautiful, beautiful leaves. Massonia citrina, this is a one from Ruckegate Pass in the Karoo. This one's not doing anything yet. I have no idea what's going on there. All of the other Massonias are well developed, but this one's sulking, I think, after being transplanted. Hopefully something will come up for the next monthly release of information. Massonia hirsuta, again this one is a smaller plant, but you can see that the flower scape is much more developed. So you can see exactly what's going on here. The flowers should be emerging really quite soon. We should have something to show you on the next monthly update. Then Massonia pustulata, a similar scape, more erect leaves this time, but again you can just see the flower scape right in the middle starting to form.